evening, you spooky motherfuckers of the world. It is episode 6 of Gigs and Ghosts with me, your host, Mikey Shiraz. And this week we have a very, very special guest. He is Ben Carter, drummer for Evile. Welcome, Ben.
Yo.
Good to see you, brother.
See you, man.
Good to see you. Well, how we do this is, people who've listened before will know we're going to talk about your musical life to start off with, you know, where you started, where you've been, where you're going, all that sort of shit. Then when we get the boring stuff out of the way, we get serious. We talk about the good stuff. We talk about the ghosts. The ghosts. So Ben Carter.
Hello.
Tell me, man, how the fuck did you get started in music?
I started playing a tennis racket, pretending it was a guitar. And then my mum bought me my first guitar, and then obviously it was inevitable that at some point I'd become a drummer.
Oh, of course. So were you shit at guitar?
No, I'm quite an alright guitarist, I think. But
Yeah.
I just preferred being behind a drum kit. It just felt better. I didn't have to... You know, like most people when they're learning an instrument, they just kind of go through the motions a bit until they get better and better and better, and like go through lessons, and there's like an aptitude kind of curve. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any of that. I just sat down behind a drum kit and I could play drums instantly.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, right, I guess I'm a drummer then. And that's...
You see, I'm different to that. Like, I tried guitar. Well, I tried cornet originally when I was at junior school. Shit.
Cornet or cornetto?
Oh, I had a cornetto and a cornet. Really hard. So then I was like, I know. Maybe I've got loads of friends who play guitar and are in bands and shit. And I've been around them for years. I should be good at guitar.
Yeah.
I couldn't play it in 5 minutes.
Then you gave up.
Gave up.
Yeah.
Sat behind a drum kit. I've got no natural rhythm, which surprised me because I'm a fucking great dancer.
Yeah. Ah, that is surprising.
Yeah.
I've seen you dance.
It's good, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'll stand at the front and sing.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that's how we go.
There you go.
But so you
Unlimited range.
So
Boom.
you were there with natural rhythm from the very start.
It was just something I found really easy. So my dad bought me my first drum kit when I was probably about 9 or 10, and then started playing with his band when I was 10 years old. Like, I used to load into venues and stuff with him and his band, in like a 50s rock and roll band. And all the people in the crowd would be like, oh, look at that little kid carrying all the equipment. Oh, that's cute. Oh, look at that guy setting the kit up. Oh, that's really... Oh, he's the drummer. Oh. And it, like, that's all my dad did when I was younger. He used to take me to see as many bands as possible. And I just watched all the drummers, soaked everything up.
Yeah.
And kind of stole everything from everyone.
Sweet. So the one with your dad was your first band you were ever in?
Pretty much, yeah.
Is it the band you're playing with him now?
Yeah, yeah.
That's wicked.
It's
So
one of
you've
the
been
first incarnations of a band called JB Good. Yeah, since forever.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's had other drummers in between and everything. Like, I went off and did loads of other like indie projects and stuff. Loads of people I met at school and actually did all right for a short while. But yeah, I've always played with my dad's band.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just automatic.
I mean, when I first met you, you were a drummer in Mary Jane.
Yeah, so I was drumming a girl punk band called Mary Jane for a bit with Terry and Rachel. I was at college with them, and after their drummer Stefan left, they needed someone pretty quick, and I'd been watching the band for years, so I slotted into that role. Before that, I was in indie bands, like, we used to play London. Do you ever play a place in London called the Red Eye at Islington?
Is it like a dive bar?
It was a proper dive bar, yeah. Everything was painted black, and as you were loading in all your equipment and everything, you just walked into the walls because you literally couldn't see shit when you were going in there. I think it's gone now, but that was always a really cool gig to do.
I'm just trying to imagine you in an indie band.
Oh yeah, I got fired from said indie band unceremoniously by the singer who was off his tits on coke all the time. Mm-hmm. But he dropped me off at home after doing the gig. We'd driven back up from London, and he said, "Ben, man, this band's as much about image as it is about like playing ability and everything. So this thing about taking your top off on stage, man, it's just too much. It's too much. So we're gonna have to let you go. I'm sorry." This is at the same gig where he'd fallen off the stage face first because he was that off his face on coke.
Well, there you go. And is that indie band still going?
Nope.
Well, fuck them.
One of the guys is. One of the guys is doing really, really well now in America with a really popular band. So
what band?
Should I say?
It's up to you.
Scars on 45.
I think I've heard the name.
Yeah,
what do they do?
A guy called Danny. He's like, I don't know, he's just like post-rock kind of stuff, but pretty cool. Danny were always a really good songwriter and everything.
Yeah. So he wasn't the singer?
No, he wasn't the singer. He was a guitarist.
Yeah.
And me and him always got on. It was a singer who was an absolute bell end.
So if you're in an indie band, don't take your top off or you're out of the door.
Yeah, well, I just got, what can I say? I get hot and sweaty when I'm playing drums, and I put a lot into it, as you'll know.
Yeah. I never take my top off.
But in that environment, it was deemed unnecessary, shall we say.
That's proper
But
rude.
fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered.
I personally don't take my top off on stage because of the amount of nipples I've got. 8.
The 8 nipples, like
8.
a cow.
No, because weirdly, the cows have 4 udders.
Oh, they've got udders, sorry.
Yeah. Cats, I think they have 10 or 8. But yeah, I've got 2 there and then 6 on my back.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's weird.
Cool.
The ones on my back lactate.
But you wouldn't have been able to see them on stage singing.
I spin
Unless
around
you
a lot.
You spin around a lot.
Yeah.
You're gyrating.
Yeah, I like to turn to the drummer and go, look at my nips.
Look at
my
my
nips. You know? Just flip it around. But how long were you in Mary Jane?
It was a while. I think it was like 4, 5 years.
Like you did an album produced by Killing Joke.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so we got signed to a little label, like an independent label around here, and
Chocolate Fireguard.
Chocolate Fireguard,
Pat
by
Fulgoni.
Pat Fulgoni.
What's
Yeah.
that?
And he took us over to Czech Republic, and we recorded in Prague. We were there for a few weeks, but it was produced by Geordie Walker from Killing Joke, who was interesting to work with.
Give me some stories.
They were out there with their new drummer, a guy called Ben Calvert.
Almost Ben Carter.
Yeah, almost Ben Carter, but not quite. Far better than I will be. I think he's doing a load of hip hop and R&B stuff now. He's pretty prolific. But at the time, he just joined Killing Joke, and they were rehearsing downstairs in one of the rehearsal rooms underneath the studio. But Ben had an apartment on the top floor, and this was when Paul Raven was still alive. And we'd been out on the lash with him and everything, and Geordie tried to get everyone tequilas in this bar, and he drunk the bar dry of tequila within the space of a week.
Yeah.
Not just what was over the optics, like the cellar and everything.
Everything.
The lass behind the bar just said, "You've cleaned us out."
Was
And
that
he told
because
us
of Terry?
No, that was Killing Joke. So we went down into this rehearsal room, and it was just a mess, like a war zone. And what had happened is they'd all got absolutely fucking leery and decided to try and kill each other. So there was like the keyboard was smashed in half. They'd ripped like table legs off, and I think Youth had tried to batter Paul with it, and it all got really, really like intense apparently.
Holy shit.
But then on another night out, Ben had been out drinking with Geordie. Might have been the same night when they ran out of tequila. But he decided to kick open his plate glass door on the front of his apartment, and he needed about 58 stitches up his leg because he cut himself really, really bad. And all the blood was still up the staircase, all the way up to his apartment and everything. And they were playing what's the big stadium in Prague in the middle? It's like
Pragu Stadii.
that might be it. They were playing that shortly after, and he went in a bad way.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but they were telling us all stories about when Dave Grohl was flying over and doing some stuff with them and everything.
Yeah, because he played on that album Asteroid.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I saw him just after they did that album. They supported Motley Crue in Manchester.
That's it. Yeah, that was the same kind of time. So we heard some stories about Dave Grohl not being the nicest person to work with.
Lies!
Which who am I to, I can't say anything. I've never worked with the bloke, but apparently he just kept flying in from LA and then firing sound engineers and then disappearing back like for a week and then coming back over and going, no, that drum kit sounds shit, going back over, coming back over, saying that drum kit sounds shit, and this went on for weeks apparently.
Dave Grohl can do that, man.
He can. You know, I'd be flying around like that if I had
he's
the money.
the only man to have a #1 album in 3 different bands.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Foo Fighters, Nirvana, and was it Thingy Vultures?
Oh yeah, them crooked vultures.
Them Crooked Vultures, yeah.
Can you imagine having that amount of power?
I know.
Wow.
Seems like a nice dude, man.
Yeah, I mean, everyone says he's a nice guy. He's got to be.
He's got to be.
He's got to be.
Why would everyone say he is and then is not? Why would the band who try to kill each other at practice, I'm going to take everybody else over what they say.
So Jazz Coleman was interesting as well. We only met him.
God.
We only met him twice.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like getting hit by a hurricane and then leaving. Yeah, he made no sense. The most terrifying man I've probably ever met in my life because of that. But you could see he's a very troubled genius.
Oh yeah.
Very complicated individual, but still,
Still going.
Yeah.
Man. He's still leading that band. And
So Terry had a few Fallings out, shall we say,
Yeah.
with Geordie. That was an interesting dynamic.
She's a strong characters, man. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's exactly it. When it wasn't the biggest studio, and it just, Mary Jane was ace. I love playing in Mary Jane, but at the time, Evile was just bubbling and just about to sign and everything.
Well, you were in Metal Militia before Evile.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The Metallica tribute thing was turning into Evile very slowly, but very obviously. And as Evile started getting more gigs and more attention, I was juggling bands everywhere, and something had to give. And I just felt there was more longevity with Evile than there would have been with the stuff. Because, we were doing stuff like with Mary Jane that were a bit like Distillers, a bit like Hole, and it only had a certain amount of lifespan in it, I thought. So it was one thing had to go, and unfortunately it was Mary Jane.
Yeah, but, I mean, looking back now, I think you made the right decision.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I remember when you got signed with Evile to Earache, was it 2005?
Yeah, 2007, I think.
Well, I just remember you coming in the West Riding the night you'd signed.
Yeah, me and Mike came in.
Yeah, and got a tab and just drank.
Yeah, because we couldn't believe what were happening. So we played all these gigs all over the UK, and we didn't think we were getting any attention. But we did find out that there was a million other thrash bands doing a similar thing to what we were trying to do. So everyone was in this big kind of thrash family doing the same gigs, same venues. But we got asked to play Bloodstock Festival, and we didn't know that Digby Pearson from Earache was going to be in the crowd. So we're playing, just doing what we normally did. And then Monday morning, there's an email waiting for us saying, do you want to sign with Earache? So Matt rings us up, and he's like, do you want to do this? And we just thought it was like a subsidiary.
Yeah.
And then we went on the website and actually looked and did a bit of delving, and there's people like Carcass there and stuff like that. And we're just like, they want us? What? So that's how it. Went down to Nottingham, signed the deal. But yeah, that night when we found out, me and Mike, our old bassist, came into the West, didn't we? And we just got absolutely ruined. Yeah, and rightly so.
And that first album did pretty well. You were seen as revitalizing the thrash scene pretty much. In the UK. I mean, like you say, it was always bubbling. There's a lot of bands doing that sort of thing, but in a way, you sort of spearheaded this new wave.
That's what they labelled it as. Unbeknownst to us, we didn't ask them to do that. That's just their angle that they went in on, because they saw the scene was bubbling back under and everything, and I think we took it a little bit more honestly and a bit more seriously than a lot of the other bands around the time.
You do find a lot do it in a kind of a jerky way and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we always said we were never going to be one of them kind of skate crossover thrash bands. You think of the big four. You've got Metallica, who are the mainstream, kind of more commercial one. You've got Slayer, who are just nasty and aggressive. And then you've got Anthrax, that don't really take themselves so serious. And then you've got Megadeth, who are, the clinicians, but don't kind of get the same kind of revere as Metallica. Yeah. It was that kind of thing, and we got labelled as something quite early on, and we just thought, yeah, let's roll with this.
Who's your favourite of the big four?
It changes depending on what mood I'm in.
Is it Anthrax?
It's Exodus.
Is it? Number 5.
Yeah. No, it depends what mood I'm in.
Yeah, but you saw around that time, more and more bands were coming up in that scene, Bonded by Blood.
Yeah, Bonded by Blood.
Gamma Bomb. Philly's coming up in a few weeks' time.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to get
good
Philly
mates of ours.
Yeah, great.
Philly will be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. Philly
will be fantastic.
And he puts. I like how he puts a performance behind it. He dresses up. He has his glove and shit.
Oh yeah,
his mic stand.
He's all about the performance side of it for sure.
Also, so Evile, how long you been going now?
It'll be we started properly in 2000, maybe 99. So we released this first EP 2004ish. So it'll be coming up to it's 20 years, 21 years.
And you're the longest running member.
I'm the only. How can I phrase this? I've been there from day one.
The only one to play every gig.
Yes.
Me too, man. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I've never faltered, never kind of wavered in my commitments at band or anything. Just even through various injuries and stuff that wouldn't literally have killed other people. I've just got through it and just.
You are what we call in the industry a lifer.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've said that since day one. Mm-hmm. People say what would you do if you weren't a musician? I'm just dead. I'd be dead.
You'd be a ghost.
Yeah, I would. I'd be a ghost.
So you're recording a new album at the moment. What number album?
Number 6.
Number 6.
So yeah, we're signed to Napalm Records right now. They've been looking after us really well.
Yep.
But we've just earlier this evening, we did all the backing vocals that we needed to do to finish the track off, and the label want it completed by next Wednesday, I believe. So
That's fast.
Yeah, it's fast.
Your last album wasn't that long ago, was it?
No, we did our last album in the gap of lockdown for COVID. Mm-hmm. We did that down at Andy Sneap's studio down in Belper. A guy called Chris Clancy engineered it, who's done all sorts. He's better known for doing one of Machine Head's albums.
Which one? The new metal one?
No, it was one a few years back. I can't remember which one it was. But he's shit hot. He knows our sound now inside and out. And our last album, Hell Unleashed, did really well. It sounds really massive. And
it was a good album.
It was a good return to form, like thrashy form for us. But this new one, it's a bit different.
Well, like your last one, it was a bit more... Is aggressive a good way to say it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we had a bit of a hiatus, didn't we? Because, all left the band and came back. Mm-hmm. We had a bit of time off because of that. And then Matt decided to leave. And then we
become a cinema man.
Yeah, family man, responsibilities take over.
Yeah, of course.
That's fair enough. He was struggling to commit, and he said openly that, he loved being in the band and he loved fronting the band, but that hour that you're on stage doesn't equate for the other 23 that you're missing your family and being away from your family and stuff, and that you can't argue with that.
Yeah, people forget. Yeah, they think they see you on stage do that hour, they forget like the 20 hours you've just spent travelling.
That's
and
it. Yeah.
Your sound checking and all the waiting around, and then afterwards going home and everything. And it is a lot of work and stuff.
It is, but that's what I signed up for. I know the crack, and that's what I'm here for. But yeah, the new album and everything, we recorded the body of it. Probably November sort of time. I did drums in 4 days again, 5 days tops. And then all's done the guitars off site and done some vocals somewhere else. And we're just piecing it together because I think the way you record an album isn't like what it used to be, where you're there and you're staying on site for a month or a month and a half or whatever. That we just don't have the money anymore. The finances aren't there anymore.
Well, it's just how it is in the whole scene, isn't it? Now?
Yeah. So we've managed to piece it together, and I've just had a few mixes back this week, and it's just sounding massive. But as people who know Evile will guess, we're not the sort of band to do the same album twice. So we're exploring something else this time. Not that it's not going to be thrash, not that it's not going to be metal. It's just us in a different way.
Throwing a ballad in.
Yeah, there's a ballad in there.
You love a ballad.
Yeah, we do, because we can pull ballads off.
I mean, you personally. I've seen you on karaoke, man.
Yeah.
I know how much you love Heart.
I do.
And how much you love a fucking power ballad.
Absolutely right.
And me too, man,
Everyone's a frustrated frontman. Well, every drummer's a frustrated frontman.
Every frontman's a frustrated frontman,
What's frustrating you, darling?
I want to do some power ballads, man. If I'm out at karaoke night, I'm like going, right, let's find Bed of Roses. Let's find Total Eclipse of the Heart. Let's find a ballad. When I'm at home, I'm singing ballads around my house.
Them's the ones.
And anyone comes around, I'm like, let's do some hardcore on quickly.
Yep.
All right, guys, what are you going to throw down? I remember just after lockdown when we moved to the new parish, one morning I was opening up and I was in the beer garden cleaning and I put on the Battle Hell musical soundtrack.
Yep.
I was like, no one else is here. I'm going to make it loud as fuck. Loud as fuck. Everywhere. So in the beer garden, I'm singing really loud. I was like, don't mind, nobody can hear me. Then Perry gave me a phone call. He's like going, you at parish? I was like, yeah. He's like going, Joe, Peanut Joe.
Yep.
She's around working at the warehouse and they're complaining about the show tunes coming from beer garden at parish at 9:30 in the morning.
And what did you say? Go fuck yourself.
There's only 2 more songs left, mate. I'm going to get through this. I was performing. I mean, have you seen the Battle Hell musical?
No, I haven't.
Dude, it's incredible.
I bet.
It's unbelievable.
I bet it's like really kind of bombastic and flamboyant and big and...
Very Jim Steinman all over.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you can tell a mile off, can't you?
What's your favourite power ballad? I know it's a hard one.
Well, it's going to have to be Alone, isn't it?
How can I get
But I don't know. I mean, Journey have got some bangers, haven't they?
They do.
Foreigner have got some bangers.
Speaking of which, don't you play drums in Foreigner's Journey?
I do at the minute, yeah.
And tell us, what is Foreigner's Journey?
It's a Foreigner and Journey tribute act.
Fantastic.
But it's great because I get to put some different heads on. Like, I put my Steve Smith head on and Dean Castronovo hat and,
Do you get to do backing vocals?
Not yet, but I am gonna. I am gonna. All them upper harmonies and stuff. I'm gonna be doing the falsetto bits.
Fucking yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's just good fun. You know, we do some good gigs and they've got a good following and it's great music. And you know, when I'm not doing anything with Evile, it's nice to have something else and still play music. You know.
Yeah, of course, man.
But it helps that they've got such a vast back catalogue, both bands, that you can just pick and choose. And
favorite Journey song?
Lights or Girl Can't Help It.
Sweet. Favorite Foreigner song? None of them.
Nightlife.
No.
Yeah.
So go check out those songs if you don't know them. Favorite Evile song?
Don't know. One off the new one, but I can't tell you which.
Oh, do you have a title for it? Are we allowed to know the title?
No, not yet.
You don't?
No, we do have a title, but I can't say. I'm sworn to secrecy.
Dog Spaghetti.
Close, but not anywhere
Spaghetti
near.
Dogs.
Spaghetti Dogs sounds like a really good band name.
We are Spaghetti Dogs. Scream for me, Helsinki.
Not to be confused with Noodle Cats.
Oh man, I hate noodle cats. I'm just not a fan of K-pop. So you're going to Spain this weekend? Is that a festival or just a gig?
It is. We're playing a festival called Tonic or Catatonic or something.
Yeah.
It's K with tonic after it. So I can't pronounce it. It sounds like Klingon.
That's the one.
That's the one.
I've heard it.
So yeah, we're headlining that. I don't know where in Spain it is. It's up round the coast from Barcelona somewhere.
What's your favourite country you've toured though?
Oh God, I can't pick one. I loved touring the States. I loved touring Canada.
You met a friend of mine in Canada, I believe.
Who was that?
On one of your tours. I think you stayed at her house. What's her name?
Pray tell.
Is it Kat or something? She's like a Canadian punk. And once she was going around the UK with leftover crack.
Oh.
And
yes.
Yeah, and she sent me a message going, I just had this band called Evile, and they said they were from Huddersfield. So I was like, going, do you know Mikey? And they did know you. I said, yeah, I know
that's
Evile.
Oh God, that's the blast from the past.
That was way back.
Yeah.
I think it might have been
2008
first Canadian tour or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, what a small world music is.
It is. It really is. We were in Colombia a couple of months back, November time, and it was really weird. Like people queuing up outside the hotel waiting to get stuff signed by us and have photos and stuff.
I like it on your socials when you announce a tour, and it's always like, come to Peru.
Oh yeah,
come to Brazil.
it's a mainstay, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can guarantee it. Come to Uzbekistan.
Yeah, you go, well,
It's like, well,
Thrash is big there,
Yeah.
as are Spaghetti Dogs.
No, it's great though. It's a great feeling, but it's quite humbling in a way as well,
Oh, of course.
and scary. The fact that you can go to the other side of the world and someone will know you by name and come up and shake your hand and say thank you for something that you've created.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's like if you worked in Sainsbury's, you wouldn't get that, would you? You know what I mean? Like,
I do it every time.
do you?
Every time I go, excuse me, where's the avocados? And they go, there. I go, thank you for all you do. Thank you for all
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Get out of my way. I'm a rock star. But yeah, with Evile, you've got to play with some of your heroes and shit.
Yeah.
I remember...
We had a bit of a baptism of fire, like, right in the early days. We got thrown in the deep end. First ever big tour was Megadeth.
Yeah.
6 weeks around Europe with Megadeth. And then
so
straight
sorry.
after that... No, it was amazing.
For you.
No, say what you want. Dave Mustaine's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant bloke. There's a lot of depth to his character. But the problem is his character's behind this massive entourage.
Oh, really?
And you've got to get through the entourage to get to him, and he lets you in when he chooses, and that's it. You've got a window of opportunity to speak to him and see him, just for Dave Mustaine,
Yeah.
and then facade back up. The safety bubble around him's back up. But in them few instances that we were able to hang out with him and speak to him at length about stuff, he's really down to earth, really articulate, quite a lovely guy.
That's cool.
And he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder, much to everyone's...
Everybody wants a chip.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen some kind of monster.
So
Like,
in his words, he said, look, I don't have a chip on my shoulder about anything. It's the media that keep that chip there.
Yeah.
So you can kind of understand it. Can you imagine being constantly reminded of being fired from the biggest band on the planet?
You were fired from that indie band, man.
Damn it. Bastards.
Why? So, do you have a favourite band that you've toured with? Like, you've had a few that you've ticked off the list, like dream ones, like Megadeth. You did Machine Head, didn't you?
Yeah, we've done Machine Head. We toured with Exodus for a bit. They were amazing. I think Exodus are the most fun band we've toured with.
Yeah.
Just because they're all just grown up big kids, you know.
As everyone is in music,
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah, but them guys more so. They don't take it too seriously, apart from when they're on stage, obviously. But yeah, Gary's brilliant. The rest of them are brilliant. Tom Hunting's an absolute sweetheart. Who else did we tour with? Trying to think. Overkill were great.
Yep.
Overkill, don't know how they do it night after night with that kind of intensity. They're just something else. Bobby Blitz is not normal. He's not human.
Is that his real name?
No.
Oh, it's Robert Blitz.
It's Robert Ellsworth, I think.
Robert Ellsworth.
Is it? I might be wrong there.
no
It's
idea,
something. I think it is. I'm not sure.
Right. I always ask this. You don't have to answer it, but I prefer it if you do.
Go on.
Biggest arsehole. I want the nitty gritty, man. I want this stuff.
There's been a few tour managers.
Oh, well, yeah.
There's been a few tour managers, and you know, like the people that they've started in the industry somewhere.
Normally,
and they've forgotten how to talk to other people because their meteoric rise or whatever you want to say is like it's made them forget, or they just don't care. Whereas I always treat everyone with the same level of respect because you know everyone starts in the same place.
I think it's very important. Yeah, it's like why I always, if we're headlining, not that often, but if we are, always make sure you talk to the other bands, you watch the other bands, have a chat. You know, everyone starts in the same place.
Exactly.
And just...
I mean, I know there's only one way shit flows down, and that's, you know, downwards, but at the same time, you don't, and then it goes all the way. No, respect doesn't cost anything, does it? And, you know, there have been some bands that have made stuff exceptionally difficult for us. Mm-hmm. Dave Mustaine.
You get it here, folks.
I told you it was complex. No. I can't single it out as any one individual because you get them everywhere.
Have you ever had like a brawl with another band?
No, but I've been close.
Yeah, we had a big one with OPM.
Oh yeah,
we got chucked off tour. And called the most dangerous band in the UK.
Fucking hell. Get in.
Yeah, well, it was when Rob was in the band. And
oh, well, yeah.
The most dangerous Rob in the UK.
I'm glad that clarified it, because I was going to say, rest your pussycats.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, he was angry that night.
I know, I can imagine Rob angry, actually.
It was quite amazing.
And he's a big lad, and he's, you know.
It's OPM.
Andy.
Fuck. I actually ran into the drummer of OPM a couple of years ago in Austria, and he's now the drum tech for NoFX. And I was just like, stood side at stage with Carl and just chatting away, and he was like, Mike. I was like, oh, hey, because I never remember a face or a name.
Yep.
I was like, and he came over, and I was like, it's so-and-so from OPM. I was like, oh, man, how are you?
Bang!
But he was lovely. He was just like, oh, sorry about everything that happened and blah, blah, blah. I was like, you in OPM anymore? He's like, no, dude, this was NoFX now. I was like, better for you.
Fair dues.
Yeah, well, when you get to Spain, twat a band.
No, I think normally what happens is it's punters that, like, you know, like when you're out after you've done a gig and people come up to you and say, oh, thanks for a great gig, blah, blah, blah. I've had a few where people have come up to me and said really kind of challenging things. Yeah. And one of the worst ones was we'd played with Overkill in Montreal. Mm-hmm. And this guy was out with his missus, and we'd been drinking with them. She was fine with us. She really enjoyed the show. And he started getting a bit leery, and he challenged me to a drinking contest. Right. And we were drinking out of plastic pint glasses, you know, in this bar. And everyone's kind of nudging his missus, going, don't, you know, Ben will win. Mm. So anyway, first pint, chugged, I won. And he's like, yeah, I won, yeah, cool. And everyone's like, no, you didn't. And he's like, right, okay, round 2, we'll do it again then. So another one. So I supped another one, put it down, I won. And he's like running around like he's won again. And his missus is looking at him like, what are you doing? Why are you being such a dick? Anyway, third one, did it again. And he slammed his cup down on the table and then slammed it into my face and did the whole plastic glass twist in the face.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, so I picked him up and I power slammed him through a table in front of a full pub.
Wrestling!
Yeah! So everyone kind of cheered and just stood around going, oh, shit, Ben's lost it. And I was like, what do you expect, man? Yeah. You like my band, but there's a boundary there. Now you've crossed that and you've made it something that it should never have been. So instant diffusal. Yeah, and but the best thing was he kind of...
Just imagine you...
Yeah, honest, it was as quick as that.
Yeah.
And
get the table.
and like Joel was laughing. He was just like, "Oh shit, Ben's gone now." And this guy got up and kind of dusted himself. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, all right, yeah, I guess we can call that one a draw then."
I do like your Montreal accent too.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Bonjour.
Buongiorno.
Je m'appelle Brian. So, Ben, like you said, when's the new album out? Oh, fool.
Sorry, I'm just breaking stuff.
It's
Typical
right.
me. New album, probably like May, June sort of time. We haven't had a concrete date from the label yet, but...
And, sorry, I forgot. What's it called again?
I can't say.
Damn it.
Nearly. You'll have to get me on.
Sneaky.
More drunk.
It's cool. Well, good luck with that, man.
Thank you, mate.
And I look forward to hearing it and seeing where you two are next.
It's going to be heavy.
Yeah.
And then we're slated a UK tour for later in the year, probably about November sort of time.
Sweet. Huddersfield date.
I hope so.
It was good last time.
Always. I loved it.
It was a good time.
Yeah, that venue is amazing now.
It is very good.
Yeah.
It is very good.
Parish, Huddersfield.
But, that has come to the end of our music part of the Gigs and Ghosts podcast. So, gigs, gone. Now we're going to get spooky. We're going to talk about ghosts.
Oh, God.
So let me start with this, Ben. Do you, Ben Carter, drummer of Foreigner's Journey and Evile, believe in ghosts?
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. Second of 6 who've gone straight out and said that.
There's got to be more. There can't just be this. The universe is too vast and too complicated for this to be all there is.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. And there's... I know the non-believers, Callum, they always say, where's the evidence? And it's there.
I think people and the brain and everything like that is that complex, and there's so much about it that we don't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, stuff like rattling chains and ghosts in sheets, all that shit. Mm-hmm. I can't think it's that, but I think some people are tuned into a different level of consciousness than other people are. Oh
yeah, completely. I know we had one guest, I think it was Carol Hodge, when she was on, and she was talking about poltergeists, how when they, you always, not always, but a lot of the time you find it's teenage girls who are going through a change and stuff.
Yep.
They attract it because everything's going crazy, there's so much energy there, and so things are coming in like a shark.
Honing in on it,
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. People with high emotions might have this sort of crazy shit where things start moving about, and then other people just see shit.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see it as it's almost like when people are on like the spectrum, like autism and stuff like that. I think it's a very similar. It's got to be, there's got to be a facility in certain people's brains or a different chemical thing going on that tune them into different stuff. It's just like a different kind of hypersensitiveness or anything like that.
It is. It's like I keep saying. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I keep saying since I've started doing this podcast, I'm getting more and more people coming up to me on a night out and telling me their ghost stories and people you don't expect. Yeah. It's like old man Withers down the lane going, oh.
Have you ever had two people tell you the same story that don't know that each of them know the same story?
No.
Right, so an example of that is...
Give me a story.
Right,
Tell me.
So, well, my mum used to say, my mum and my dad, Ouija boards. Don't do Ouija boards.
This is an ongoing thing which we say every week. So at home, do not use Ouija boards.
Yeah, and I never will. And the thing that cemented that for me is the story. So, my mum told me a story when I was younger about Ouija boards and stuff, that she did it with her older sister and some friends, and they called a spirit up and something happened, and the coin they were using as the marker ended up flying up in the air and smashing the street lamp that they were doing it underneath in the street.
Holy shit, so it went high.
Yeah, just bang, bang, smash, glass everywhere, freaked my mum out, they all ran home crying, all that kind of stuff. Probably got a battering off my grandma because, being silly and that.
Yeah.
But then, when I was at junior school, I was talking to a girl mate of mine who'd done the same thing with a bunch of her friends, and she told me exactly the same thing happened to her. The coin that they were using as a marker just lost its shit and just ping, straight up, die straight, broke the street lamp that they were sat under. And I mean, yeah, you get urban myths and urban legends and stuff, but I can't believe that from a totally separate background, the exact same story would have passed down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's creepy as shit.
I mean, like, I think skepticals would say, like, oh, it's like electromagnetic energy and something's charged.
There's obviously a fridge on too high in the distance.
Yeah,
or
something like that. But
some bullshit.
So that was the first instance. My dad did a Ouija board with some of his mates when he was younger, and they're in the thing of, speaking to this spirit or whatever it was, and one of them asked it stupidly, how much power do you have?
Ooh, that's
the answer was enough to stop your heart. And in his adult life, this guy had 8 heart attacks. Which,
fuck.
You could attribute that to bad lifestyle choices or drugs or whatever, you name it, drinking, whatever.
I'd put it down to ghosts.
But if you're a child and something says that to you, if it were me, I'd like straighten up and fly right a bit and not tempt fate.
Yeah.
It was almost cemented. And my dad's pretty stoic. My dad don't really give a shit about stuff. He's pretty straight-laced. But I could see in his face reciting that story that it bothered him as a kid.
That's it. I think it's especially a thing when it's like talking to a parent.
Yeah.
I know my mum's told me some in the past. It's like, this is my mum who brought me up from a child, who I know to be the most wonderful woman in the world, the nicest woman in the world, a woman who will not swear, and who would never, ever tell a lie.
Yep.
I think she'd vomit if she tried lying. And like, she told me a Ouija story, which I've told this before, when he did it at a friend's house and they were asking stupid questions.
Yep.
And then like the glass flew off, exploded.
Yep.
They left. That girl's house ended up having to be exercised because on night time all the books would be flying off the shelf.
Wow.
Just wrecking the house. But she also worked at St. Luke's.
Oh, okay.
She was a nurse back in the day. Saying things that used to happen there in the night time.
Yeah.
Like lights just doing crazy shit, things out of the corner of your eyes, things moving around.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like you said, when they're saying that, you see the face has changed.
Yeah.
They're proper serious about it.
I could understand it if it was around Halloween and stuff and my dad or my mum was trying to tell me it as a spooky, scary story because it's, seasonal. But this is just like random conversations when we were kids and just kind of in, out of context, really.
Yeah.
And my dad wasn't saying it as a ghost story or anything to scare us into not doing it. He was just telling us what had happened to him.
Matter of fact,
Matter of fact, yeah. And no reason to disbelieve him.
Yeah.
I
think that's what I love about it. Is like you see people from all walks of life, from all parts of the world. So many have a ghost story, and when they do tell it, they are really serious about it. They'll be like, might be having a fuck about conversation, having a laugh, and then when they start telling a story, all that laughter is suddenly gone, and it's just like, no, serious. This was not groovy.
Yep.
I got sent one the other day about someone, and like it's more creepy, as in like they didn't actually see anything, but they were out on a night out and they did that thing where you like, where's my phone?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, where's my phone? Checking the pockets.
Yeah. Thinking you misplaced it.
Like going, it has to be somewhere. So I asked mate, can I borrow your phone? So like, so I tried phoning the phone, nothing, but it was ringing.
Yeah.
So like, well, someone's got it. Someone's nicked my phone, so like, left a message. Yeah. Did it again, phoned again, and this time somebody answered. And didn't say anything. It was just like a croaky voice, just like going.
Like the Grudge.
Yeah, almost, yeah. But they couldn't actually make out what he was saying, but it was like creeping, like just stop walking around, rah, rah, rah. And he went home that night, lives by himself, his phone's on his bed. He'd forgotten it. Hadn't even taken it out with him. But yeah, he's looking at his phone, he's like, there's my missed calls, there's the one that got answered.
That's not good. That's terrifying.
I just gave myself goose pimples.
So one of the failed ghost sightings that I've had, I remember being about, I was in secondary school, so 11, 12 years old, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and you know that feeling when someone's watching you? Something's watching you, you just can't place it. I woke up and I saw this white, shadowy thing at the end of my bed, this like figure, right? And because I was half asleep, I looked at it and I was like, what's that? And kind of rubbed my eyes and looked a bit like, and this shape at the end of my bed, like, terrified me. I was absolutely in panic mode. Full on duvet, right up, peeping over it, shivers, goosebumps, the lot.
Yeah.
Deep breathing, panic mode. Until I finally kind of woke up a little bit more and rubbed my eyes a bit harder. I went over and turned my bedroom light on, got the balls to do that. And it was my school shirt hung up on the side of my wardrobe at the bottom of my bedroom. But at that moment, because my old house that I lived in with my parents wasn't the. It was a lovely home. Don't get me wrong. The family home is beautiful, but I always had a sense of something wasn't quite right there.
Yeah, there's some bad juju in the sense.
Yeah. And I felt it the second we moved in. So we moved in. Me and my sister were, I think my sister might have been 9 and I was about 6 or 7. And obviously, new house, you get told, pick your bedroom. So this is the middle of an afternoon, probably like a Thursday or Friday or something. And 1987, went upstairs and went straight into what became my mum and dad's bedroom. And instant shivers. Really horrible sense of foreboding and dread. You can't place it, but it was just instantly wrong. And I don't know what it was, but I remember going back up there before we'd moved all the furniture in and everything. I went back up in the evening, and the lights that were cast from the street light from the outside into that room absolutely terrified me for no reason. And it just amplified this feeling of dread. And I don't know what it was. But
you can sense shit. It's that sixth sense.
You can. But in another kind of weird sense of foreboding, God bless her, my mum, when she passed away, that's the room she died in. And where the street lamps cast the light, that's where the bed was. And it's just like, shit, was that a, I don't know how to describe it, but that sense of dread, I'll never forget. I'm getting proper chills.
I can see the hair standing up, man.
I'm thinking about it now. Look, I'm proper getting goosebumps.
Yeah, it's like we're selling our house at the moment. I've been given a task of finding a house.
Yeah.
Which, because Charlotte, she's away like 9 months of the year, so
yep.
I'm out there and I'm looking around. I always ask 2 questions when I'm looking around a house. If it's somebody who's lived in that house, or Lydia I met the other day, she's selling it, her mother just passed, and she'd lived in this house for 60 years. I was like, hate to ask, but what's the spider situation like? Because I'm not a fan of spiders. And is there any ghosts? And like the lady the other day, sometimes I get a look like, fuck off. By this house. And this lady was like, no, it's a very warm house. I was like, it does feel warm. And I brought my mum with me, and she was like, it does feel nice and warm. And I was telling her about my house, and I was talking to this woman for about 25 minutes about shit that goes on in my house. Going, well, the taps came on again this morning and stuff like that. She went, well, we don't have out like that here. Yeah, it's spooky, man. There's a lot of spooky house out there. Charlotte was actually, the missus, was saying when her and her dad used to have a house in Eckington, not the house that he's got now, but the one before opposite this old pub. And he used to have shit happen there, like the lights swinging like fuck. And,
I know that feeling.
And she was like about 6 at the time, and she kept on catching like a woman in a red dress walking about. But, just a thing. But didn't think about it, and just some creepy shit. And the dad was at the pub one night, and a guy in there was like talking about where he lives. Oh, I live there. He's like, I always see that woman walking around in a red dress. Walking past the window and shit.
Yeah, them's the ones. I used to work in a pub in Lockwood, just down the road from my house. And that was one of the oldest pubs in, like, round here, West Yorkshire, whatever. And if I was ever locking up on my own late at night, that's when shit would start to affect me the most. Turning all the lights off and then walking out through the building to get to the outside door to go home.
Move your head down really fast.
Just trying to move as fast as possible, because number of times that I was on shift and seeing what I thought were customers or like shadows moving, knowing full well the pub's empty, and that feeling.
It's not cool.
You know when you're not on your own, don't you?
Yeah.
It's instinct or something. You just know.
Yeah.
I mean, you get them anywhere. You get them in all buildings. You get them anywhere and everywhere.
I mean, Carl Smith, he was on episode 1. He was telling us about the time after an Evile tour where you were dropping the gear off in Melbourne.
Right. So this is interesting. So what I said earlier about, like the coin flipping up and smashing the street lamp and stuff. This is going to be interesting because I want to know if Carl remembers it the same way that I do, and you'll corroborate this, won't you?
Yeah.
So we'd done a gig. It was quite early on. We might have still been Metal Militia then. I don't think we were Evile. And we were dropping off the equipment at Matt and All's dad's house because that's where we used to store it. And Tony might have even driven us to that gig, which is why the gear went there. It was late. It was probably 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 or something. And we're trying to be as quiet as we can so we're not waking up the neighbours on this cul-de-sac. And where that house was, it's kind of rural in a way. It like borders onto fields, and then the fields border onto like moorland and a bit of forest and all that kind of stuff. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's inhospitable, but it's pretty bleak up there.
Yeah.
So we're loading the gear away into this garage, trying to be as quiet as we can. And then all of us just stop dead and go, what's that noise? And we all just kind of put the gear down and listened. And all of us at the same point looked at each other, and we heard like little children singing Ring a Ring a Roses. And it was kind of carrying on the breeze, but from the direction of fucking nothing on this hillside. There's nothing up there.
Yeah,
and at that time in the morning, why would there be a bunch of kids singing Ring a Ring a Roses in the middle of a field?
Yeah.
And we all just stopped and looked and said, can you hear that, what I'm hearing? And we all just went, yep, we can, yep. Let's get the gear away quick. And that was it. Jumped in the other vehicles and fucked off out of there. But it was terrifying.
That's the exact same story that
Is it? Is that verbatim?
Exactly, yeah.
Right, there you go.
Yeah,
There
not
you
nice,
go.
not nice. Well, I've been doing a thing on this where each week, I'm not being shown to people at home, but I'll tell you the story. But I was in Florida late last year. Went to see, met with my mate, the Brad, who's a singer in a great punk band called The Attack, and he was showing us around the dirty dive bars of Orlando.
Yep.
And we were talking about ghosts, and he was saying how he was a non-believer. And one night he was in what was meant to be one of the most haunted hotels in America, that sort of thing. And
we played one of them in Winnipeg. I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah. I don't think it was Winnipeg, but he was just talking about it and like going on a video chat with his missus and going, look, I'm in a haunted hotel, blah, blah. It's like, nah, fuck it, we're the only people here, blah, blah, blah. Suddenly, like, hung up and she's like going, did you not see that? You don't, and she picked it up, she got a screenshot.
Let me see.
I have the photo.
Do I want to see? Is it terrifying?
Oh, mate, it's not cool. It's not cool.
It's not going to be a picture of your dick, is it?
It's not. That's the next picture.
Bloody hell.
it's fucking awful, isn't it?
Do you know the only thing that could make that picture worse is if she was looking at the camera with two like tiny pinprick eyes? Do you know the ones I mean?
It's just not nice.
That is terrifying.
It's like how they're dressed and everything like that. It looks like the head is kind of like tilting towards.
Well, it's proper and anachronistical as well. It's like that kind of shape and silhouette isn't from this era, is it? That outfit doesn't go.
It was one of those things where I felt when I was looking at the picture, I'm like hair stood up.
Yeah.
I got a cold sweat.
Yeah, I just got a bit panicky then.
You had to prop up.
Yeah. You feel your chest tighten a bit.
Yeah.
And he didn't know.
No.
Can you imagine what it was like for his missus to have seen it and not hit? But then again, that's pretty cool if he's like a non-believer and everything. It's like, well, there you go. It doesn't matter.
There it is. Yeah. The proof is in the pudding.
So we played this place in Winnipeg, and something George Hotel, and there'd been a notorious murder there a few years, a couple of decades prior or something. And someone got decapitated and butchered and put in a bathtub. And that's
They say that's a bad way to die.
I've heard it's pretty horrific. Yeah. Can't confirm that having all my limbs. But, and the guy who owns it used to take the bands who played there up into the room where it happened, and same thing, instant chills. Yeah. Not that we saw any ghosts in there or anything, but that's how he sold it. Like, oh, it's a haunted hotel and blah, blah, blah. But just the fact that knowing that something so horrible happened there chilled you anyway.
Yeah.
We played a place in Milwaukee called The Rave, which is on the tour circuit. Every band who tours America plays The Rave. and it used to be, I think it was the 20s, it used to be an old ballroom.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like recent years, they put a bowling lanes in underneath, but at the bottom was the old swimming pool and swimming baths area. And what they used the ballroom for upstairs, they used to stage boxing matches there.
Yeah.
But all the equipment for that, like the old-fashioned weighing scales and everything, are all downstairs in and around the building where the swimming pool is. And the rumour is that is the most haunted place in those states. It's like proper a focal point for like horrible shit and everything. And funnily enough, that's where the dressing rooms are for when you do a gig.
Boo.
Just alongside this haunted swimming bath. So what bands do when they go in there, they get an empty bottle, and mark a square of a tile in the swimming pool, or put a chair a certain way, go and do the gig, and come back, and 100 times out of 100, it'll have moved. And it's not like anyone else is allowed down there, it's just bands. And as much as I'd like to think that it's other bands screwing with the support bands and all that kind of stuff, same kind of thing. That horrible sense of foreboding and dread and everything I got down there. When a load of rest of lads were upstairs doing merch or whatever, me and a couple of others were the only people down there. And I thought I'd be really brave, and I went through this door that was slightly ajar. And it went down into like maintenance area and the boiler room and all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't get down the bottom of the stairs into the place because there was like 2 foot, maybe 3 feet of standing water. So it was obviously flooded because it was sub basement level.
Yeah.
And it was really dark. No power in that bit. So instantly I'm on edge, like going down these stairs, feeling brave with my little flashlight on my phone, you know. And I tried to angle around this door and see as much as I could, and like, you know, big iron doors shutting off places, and this big boiler and everything, and all the pipe work.
Like something from a nightmare.
You know that bit in in Stephen King's It?
I was just had that when I go downstairs.
Where
where Pennywise is half head just popping up.
No, it's the bit where he who's the funny one, the comedy guy?
Bill thingy. Off Saturday Night Live.
No, it's shit. I can't think which one it is. Anyways, the class clown one. He goes down there and he ends up being Pennywise as the werewolf. But it's that instant thing that's like he's trying to find the janitor down there, and it just looks all industrial.
Yeah.
I had that in my head while I was doing it, and then I saw the shadows.
Oh.
And it was like I was being watched from all angles, and there were shadows being cast in there. Bear in mind, I've got one light source. There were shadows cast in directions that I wasn't even looking, and it was terrifying. It just felt like everything at once was coming to get me, and I fucking bolted. I've never run as fast up a staircase in my life, evidently. But yeah, it was horrible, and it shut me up for about an hour. I couldn't focus. I couldn't think. I was just absolutely just ruined mentally. Mm-hmm. It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, I mean, those sort of situations, it just fuck you up.
Well, it just served me right, because I was trying to be all big and brave and hard and be like, oh yeah, I'll go and have a look and explore on my own. I don't,
You're just
but
curious.
No, it got me.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what else has happened over the years. I mean, when I was younger, it used to happen quite a lot.
Well, they say that's the age when you're a kid. That
yeah.
Like, you
must have been like 9 or 10. Where my family house was, it used to back onto some playing fields. And the playing fields backed onto some woods, and in the woods there was like a really cool mountain bike track and a BMX track. Mm-hmm. And me and all my mates used to go up there and play around on our BMXs and stuff, like as you did back then. But I remember this one time, it was me and a mate, Martin, we just thought we'd go for a trek through the woods, just a bit of a walk on a Saturday afternoon or whatever. Broad daylight, probably about 1 o'clock, you know, after you finished watching Thundercats and eating your cereal and watched all your cartoons on Saturday morning telly. Mm-hmm. Go and play out. So we went and played, and we went for a walk in the woods. And there was one hill that went up into the woods, and it was a narrow path, and it fell away to the right, down like a banking, and that kind of joined onto like an industrial estate with the sewage works and water treatment plant and all that kind of stuff. So there was no clear way up this hill other than through this path. Anyway, this jogger was running down the hill towards us, but he didn't look right. He didn't look like he belonged there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His clothes were like old 50s or 60s running clothes. You know, like the guy from the 118 advert?
Yeah.
It's like old throwback kind of running gear. Yeah. Like proper ropey vest and those little running shorts that come up your crack.
Yeah, we can see the nads hanging out the sides.
Yeah, he was like that. So me and my friend Martin at the side, like we had to step off the path so he could run past. And on the way past, he went, "All right, Ben." So I got instantly looked at by Martin going, "How does that guy know who you are? Do you know him?" And I went,
Peter
I went, "No." And we both turned around and he'd fucking gone. And I'm not talking like we turned around a couple of minutes later.
Yeah.
We turned around within 10 seconds of him passing. And there was nowhere else for him to go other than down this one single path to the exit of the woods. But he'd just fucking vanished. He hadn't gone up the hill and he wasn't like, struggling to get up the hill. He hadn't fallen down the side and, landed anywhere. He'd just gone.
That's not nice.
But he knew my name.
And he's still
And
here. Today.
Yeah. But the same kind of thing applies. He just totally... He shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
With what he was wearing and how he looked, he shouldn't have been there.
That's freaky.
But
it's
the fact that he knows my name, just
it's
fuck off.
like Steve last week was saying how he had like a full body thing similar where he was at work at Think Tank and he used to have a lot of work people in there. He was walking down the steps one day, down the back steps. Two guys walking up, so he's like stepped aside, let them pass. Sorry.
Yep.
Went to office and was saying, I didn't know we had workmen in today. Going, we don't. Went on CCTV. You see him going down the steps.
And there's no one there.
To the side. Fuck all coming up.
Oh, it's terrifying.
I just remember another one from when I was a kid. Childhood home in Allenbury. We lived at the bottom of this little row of houses, and next door neighbours was Ruby Riddle. Ruby Riddle. She had
Sounds like a Roald Dahl character.
she had a hump. And I think her husband was called Harold. I feel bad I've forgotten his name because it involves him. Anyway, he had one once where he'd had a big heart attack. And I remember as a kid, the story behind that was creepy. He'd gone outside and seen a massive, massive black bird on top of a lamppost and was going, Ruby, look at this bird, and then had a big heart attack.
I thought the bird was saying Ruby. I was like, that's pretty clever.
No, but had a big heart attack, but he survived and everything and came back. But then eventually he did die. But we were really close. And like,
did he die from crow injuries?
Yes, he did. He took his eyes. He told a lie. But once he died, because I was really gotten well with him. I used to go around. They used to give me cake and shit. Not shit.
Yeah,
that's a whole different story for a whole different time.
I was going to say, that's not pleasurable.
He passed away, and Ruby was like going, he'd want you to have this. And it was a small, wind-up little gramophone that played Green Sleeves.
Yeah.
I was like, God, that's lovely, blah, blah, blah. Every night, that fucker would start up. Every single night, playing Green Sleeves.
At least he didn't play it backwards.
Yeah. Maybe it did. No, but I remember like a lot of weird shit used to happen in that house anyway, which you'll find out in other episodes because there's a lot of stuff. But I remember taking it apart and everything. So you go, I don't like it.
Something about it.
I'm 7 years old, so I took it all apart and screwed it all, so just the middle part every night.
Still?
Time. Yeah, just start playing Green Sleeves all the time.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
No, I'd have yeeted that into the sun.
Yeah, it was it was probably him just trying to say hello.
Yeah, potentially.
But
Or
why do you want to scare a little 7-year-old boy like that?
Exactly, yeah, with
Just
Green Sleeves.
Put me in your will or something. Motherfucker. I don't mean that.
Just leave me 50 pence and fuck off.
Yeah. But yeah, my mum at the same time, she used to run old folks' homes.
Oh, yeah.
And they were scary, man.
Yeah.
It's like, there used to be a lady who used to think that I was her son and chase me down the corridors going, where's my son? And I'd like...
In that exact voice?
That exact. Maybe she just overtook me. I remember running one day, into the games room, and it was like some of The Shining, man. I'd be hid under the pool table, and you'd see her like varicose vein legs and slippers walking past, going, "Where are you, my son?" No. She wasn't a ghost, but it was fucking scary, man.
Might as well have been.
Gigs, ghosts, and grannies. That's the next season, you know. But unless you've got any more stories, have you got anything else?
No, just like, did you ever remember when Huddersfield Musical College, like the music department, got moved into what used to be the old hospital?
Yeah, the Highfields.
And it became what was the old morgue became the music block, I have never seen more crying girls in my life than shit that happened down in that room. Because, like, the morgue and everything, you know, old classrooms and stuff, and people just running out left, right, and centre, screaming and bawling because they'd seen stuff. So that needed to end, unless they did it on purpose. Just to shit all students up.
I remember when we were at junior school, when you were like in your final year of junior school, the class would get sent to Cliff House for a weekend.
I never went, but they did take us to Cliff House. Yeah,
but I've heard like years later it happened every time a class went there. One of the girls' bedrooms, you'd be out like looking for bugs or some shit, and you'd come back and the girls' bedroom, all the drawers would be out, all the clothes would be all over the bedroom.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been up and all the time. I mean, I remember when I was sleeping there and I was scared because there was a rocking chair in the fucking room.
Oh, no.
Who does that, man, you know?
You're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, and I was like, couldn't sleep one night, but then I did fall asleep. Then I woke up and I wasn't even in my dorm anymore. I was in one of the other dorms in bed with Mark Laverick.
What?
I don't know if I'd sleepwalk or been carried by a ghost put in this bed, but
maybe
it's a bad time, man.
One thing I will say...
I cried while I was there.
One thing I will say is, like, when people see ghosts and stuff like that photo you've shown me.
Yeah.
Why is it always, like, you know, old-fashioned clothing and people from back then? It's never like, I don't know, Barry from A Death Last Week who's just choked on a Greggs
you
and
say that, no, but,
unfortunately passed away from choking.
And you say, but there's been a lot of stories I've heard lately where it's been just like people like that one, Steve, last week. Those two guys walking up steps.
Oh well, yeah, I suppose.
Something I was saying last week. This woman I saw walking through town. There was just something not right about her.
Yeah.
And like, you know.
Well, it sort of feel that could be said for a lot of people.
It was up by Primark. You know what do you expect? But yeah, I think there is. I think people do drop into that old cliche of like Victorian crows.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people do see things now where, nah, man, it's knobhead Uncle Bobby, the pedo from down the road or something who died.
I hope I don't ever get that. Don't want to be visited by him, thanks.
You'd be too old for him now, man. It's all right. But Ben, let me just say thank you very much for joining us.
Dude. It's been my pleasure.
Absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you all for listening. That's Ben Carter of Evile. New album, what's it called again?
It's that title I can't tell you yet.
Yeah. Will be out later this year and they will be touring, so go check out Evile, go check out Foreigner's Journey when they're out about. Go check out, was it not Johnny B. Bad?
JB Good?
JB Good.
Johnny B. Bad. That's the other one I haven't set up yet.
JB Good, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next time. I can't remember who the guest is next week. It could be Elliot from Nosebleed.
Get in.
But yeah, keep in touch. Remember to subscribe on all channels. Leave a review, leave a rating. Keep listening in. Send me your ghost stories. It's been good. This has been Gigs and Ghosts, episode 6. Woo!
So now it's not recording anymore. You can tell us the name of the album, can't you?
It's...